A compound is a chemical substance composed of more than one type of element. And many times in chemistry, it is helpful to know the formula mass of a compound in order to perform some type of calculation. If you have access to the interweb, you can easily look up the formula mass of a compound. However, you should know how to calculate the formula mass of a compound if you have a periodic table or a list of atomic masses. The first thing you need to be able to do is determine how many atoms of each element make up the compound. That is what the chemical formula is for. Take sulfuric acid, for example. The chemical formula for sulfuric acid is H2SO4. The numerical subscripts in the formula tell you how many atoms of that particular element are in one molecule of that substance. For instance, this 2 tells you that there are 2 hydrogen atoms in one formula unit of sulfuric acid. Notice that sulfur, S, does not have a subscript. No subscript means that there is only one of these atoms in a formula unit of the compound. This 4 tells you that there are 4 oxygen atoms in a molecule of sulfuric acid. Now we want to know the total mass of all of these elements together, or the mass of the compound. What we have to do is find the atomic mass of each individual element on the periodic table, or the alphabetized list of atomic masses, and then add them up to get the formula mass. As you begin your chemistry journey, you may find it easier to use the alphabetized list of atomic masses. But as you become more familiar with the periodic table, you will find it is easier to find the atomic masses using the periodic table. No matter what resource you use, please remember that in this class, we will always round the atomic mass to the 10th place, or 1 decimal place. So, let's find hydrogen on our alphabetized list. As we scan through the H's, we find hydrogen right here. Hydrogen has a mass of 1.0 grams. Sulfuric acid has 2 hydrogens, so the total mass of hydrogen is 2.0 grams. Now, let's do the same for sulfur. Scan along and find sulfur. Oh, here it is, 32.1 grams. Sulfuric acid has only 1 atom of sulfur, so we have to add 32.1 grams into our formula mass. Finally, we need to determine oxygen's contribution to the mass. Look through the atomic mass table to find oxygen. Here, we see that oxygen has a mass of 16.0 grams. Sulfuric acid has 4 oxygen atoms, so let's multiply by 4 to get 64.0 grams of oxygen. To get the formula mass, all we have to do is add up the contributions of each individual atom. In this case, 2.0 grams plus 32.1 grams plus 64.0 grams. Each of the atomic masses were to the 10th place, or 1 decimal place. So following the addition sig fig rule, our answer should only have 1 decimal place. The formula mass of sulfuric acid is 98.1 grams. Alright, let's look at a more complicated chemical formula just to show you that determining formula masses is not that difficult, even if some chemical formulas look complicated. First of all, the compound you made in lab is known as a hydrate. Substances that incorporate water into their solid crystalline structures are known as hydrates. See these water molecules snuggled inside this solid crystalline structure? Well, scientists must account for these water molecules when determining formula masses of hydrates. We must start by determining how many atoms of each element make up this compound. Potassium has no subscript, so there is 1 potassium atom. Aluminum is also without a subscript, so we have 1 aluminum atom. Okay, here is something new for us. What is up with these parentheses? Well, 1 sulfur atom and 4 oxygen atoms happen to be grouped together in this substance. And there are 2 of these sulfur-oxygen groups. So what we must do is similar to what you would do in math class. You must factor the subscript outside the parentheses, a 2 in this case, into the subscripts inside of the parentheses. 2 times 1 sulfur atom nets you 2 total sulfur atoms. 2 times 4 oxygen atoms gives you 8 oxygen atoms. Notice that there are more oxygens to come here in this substance. So I left a little space here to add those additional oxygens on. Now we come to this dot in our chemical formula. A dot in math class means to multiply, but here in chemistry this dot means to add. You will only see a dot for a substance that is a hydrate. The number after the dot will tell you how many water molecules are incorporated into the solid crystalline structure of the compound. In this case, 12 water molecules are incorporated into the structure. We must account for this number by once again factoring it into hydrogen and oxygen atoms that make up water. 12 times 1 oxygen atom means there are 12 more oxygen atoms to add to the previous 8 we determined. 12 times 2 hydrogen atoms means there are 24 hydrogen atoms in the chemical formula. Now that we know the total count of each type of atom, we can look up the individual atomic masses and add to get the formula mass. Use the atomic masses handout to find potassium. Here it is. Only one potassium atom in the compound, so 1 times 39.1 grams is 39.1 grams. Moving on to aluminum. Nice! The second one on the list. There's only one aluminum atom, so 27 grams must be added to our formula mass. Let's find sulfur on our list again, or remember it from the last example. Here we go, 32.1 grams. 2 times 32.1 grams gives us 64.2 grams to add to our total. Oxygen we could remember for our last example, or find it here on our list. 20 oxygen atoms times 16 grams means that we must add 320.0 grams to the total formula mass. Finally, hydrogen has a mass of 1.0 grams. 24 grams must be added to the total. Adding up the 5 values from each individual atomic component gives us a formula mass of 474.3 grams. The sig figs are correct because each atomic mass has 1 decimal place, and when we add values we need to round to the least number of decimals. Now it is time for you to try an example on your own. Determine the formula mass for ethyl alcohol. Try to use the periodic table this time instead of the list of atomic masses. Pause the video and give the problem a try. When you have an answer, push play to check your work.